rich. So, it's both essential, like. So, but anyway, you move on. All right. What I want to cover today is something I've talked about a lot before, which is extended DISC. I sort of touched on it. I can only touch on it a little bit more because there's so much to it. But I'll give it a crack anyway. Extended DISC is a behavioural profiling tool. It breaks it down. Someone does like 24 questions online, and from that it generates a 24-page report, and it breaks down into the four main groups of D, I, S, and C, and they relate to personality types. From that, you can get combinations of these D, I, S, and C, and it can even so someone can be high in D, I, and S, and the levels will make more sense soon. But there's potential for up to 160 combinations, so it's a pretty refined tool. So just a little bit of history about where it comes from. It's based on Carl Jung's work. He wrote a book in 21, which was the psychological types. From there, you've got Marston wrote a book about emotions of normal people. And from there, the DISC was derived, which has up to 16 combinations of personality types. 94, the extended DISC came into life, and that's got 160 combinations there. So it came from Finland originally, then in 98 came to Australia. So that's just a little bit of background about DISC. So you have four energy types. You got D for dominance. So these people like to win, okay? I for influence. These people like to be liked. S is for stability. These people like to be comfortable. And C is for compliance. These people like to be right with respects to accuracy. Okay? But just run through the DISC quadrant. It's D, I, S, and C. If it was based on its purest form, that's what these people are like. But as I said before, there's combinations of all these energy types. So D for dominance. This is the highest intensity in regards of energy level and how they present. D is the highest. Okay, these are drivers. These are what people are basing their decisions, what they're driven by, what drives them to take actions. So these are driven by certainty and significance. They want certainty that everything is controlled and in order. They want that certainty. They want to know where things are at. Significance in respects to the recognition that these guys are leaders. These are the entrepreneurs. These are the leaders of the world. They get significance from what they do, their work. Okay, their results. They're very focused. They love the challenge. D, it's all go. It's the bull. Okay, they're into things that, as is with the C, we'll go into that. Very visual, very big picture people. If we look at a scale in regards to extroversion and introversion, extroversion being that they get their energy from being around people, and introversion meaning they get their energy from being by themselves and reflecting and so forth. The D's are in the middle, but slightly to the introversion, which is really interesting because the D's are the leaders of the world. They're the managers, they're the leaders there. So, being around people takes energy from them over time. Okay? So these are convincing strategies. It's about how they make their decisions. With the D's, if what someone has to offer is going to take them to where they want to go, they're the easiest to trust and they're on board. Is that going to take me where I'm going to go? Yes, bam, in. So they're the easiest to trust there. The big picture, they're outgoing, fast-paced. Moving along to the I's. I's are influencers. They're the bubbly, charismatic people. Okay? They're focused on relationships. They're into people. They're into variety and connections. They want the spice of life. They want things changed. They want the challenge. They want the adventure. Okay? Connection is to do with connections with other people or connection with something else, whether that's nature, a spirit, whatever. It's connection is one of their drivers. That's how they'll be making their decisions and what motivates them. They're very kinesthetic, so they'll talk about the language they might use is, I feel this is the right decision for me. They might be a very touchy-feely sort of people as well, yeah? So they're extrovert, highly extroverted people, outgoing, get their energy from being around people. So their convincing strategy. So for them it's automatic in respect that they're on board, but the only criteria is going to be fun, which isn't necessarily in their interest. You know, it's not like meeting up for a coffee or a dinner, and it's all about the relationship. It's not necessarily with an outcome or a goal in mind. The D's will often have an agenda, something in mind. Where are we going? What's this all about? So the I's would benefit at times in modelling the D's, which is, you know, where's this going to go? What's this all about? We come across to the E's. To the S's. This is the energy intensities too. So we're goes DISC in regards to energy intensity. So this is the stability. This is the mother archetype. Very caring, great listeners. They're focused on comfort. They like stability. They like things to stay the same. They don't want to rock the boat. They like their environment. They like how it is. So they're very resistant to change, and that can be something that holds them back. They're into comfort and connection. Okay, so it's that comfort. It's keeping things the same. Connection, people, relationships, things that they can connect to that they're associated with. Again, kinesthetic. They're slightly extroverted. So if you take the midpoint, they're slightly towards the extroversion. In regards to making decisions, they take their time. They think about it, and this trips them up on a regular basis because opportunities pass them by, because they're thinking about the pros and cons, weighing it up, and opportunities pass them by. So, again, modelling D, which is, will this opportunity, will this decision take me to where I want to go? Yes, no, make a decision based on that. S is good modelling, that can benefit from it. They're more reserved energy, as with the C's. And they're into the detail, more refined picture, fine details. Now, if we come across to the C's, compliance. Like, these people are the engineers, the tech heads, the accountants, very process-driven, very analytical. They're focused on precision, and they want to be right with respect to accuracy. These are the guys who don't just make a text and make a map. They make a blue text and maker that's an absolute defined shade. There's so much focus on detail. And they're driven by certainty and significance. The audio digital, this is the modality, which means that they've got a lot of reflective self-talk. It's what they tell themselves. Okay. These guys tend to be introverted. And in regards to making decisions, it'd be touching it, seeing it, feeling it a number of times before making a decision. With a C person, if they say they need to go away and think about it, it's their truth. So these are just some examples of D energies. I'll flick through this pretty quickly. I's. Just to give you a bit of an idea of flavour of some of the energy types. S's.
Spot.
How does EDISC go for people? By doing EDISC, people get a really good understanding about what they're about, and also get a much better understanding about what other people are about. So with that, people can make better decisions, take better actions, and get better results because of this knowledge. It can improve communication. It can be like talking different languages in respects to the way people communicate. If someone can match someone else's style of communicating, the ability to build rapport and influence what happens next is a lot more likely. With relationships, it can be about understanding different people's needs and wants and then negotiating based on those things. So an ideal client for me is someone who is wanting connection to themselves with respect to their why, their mission, their purpose. They're wanting to drill down and get on top of that. I've been doing a lot of coaching around that lately. It could be like that I seem to procrastinate. I seem to procrastinate and I don't achieve what I want from my life. Okay? It could be connection to others. Well, that's work or it's personal. It could be that they don't understand why they keep on attracting a certain type of person into their life. Okay? And the connection to their environment, they might find that they feel they don't belong in their environment. So how does someone get a bit of the action? Well, normally I do EDISC, the sit-downs, the packages for $3.97. And what that includes is that I'll sit down with the individual and go through the profile for an hour and a half to bring out some gold. It's not so much about the time that I spend with the individual, it's more about getting the outcomes that they're wanting. Okay? There's a 24-page report, take it home, you get to go over it whenever you want to sort of refresh about what's been covered. And then there's the option, because there's so much that comes out of it, it doesn't make sense to try and cover everything, because the brain would end up being fried and you probably be there for a 3-hour session or something like that. But there's so much that comes up that there's the opportunity for ongoing coaching to actually go through different things that the individual wants to look at. So today and tomorrow I'm actually going to do a special price of $347, and with that it could be people you know or even yourselves, and it's going to be for the first 7 people just because it's a reduced rate that I have there. So in saying all that, is there any questions? 10 minutes 57.
I've got a bit of a rap, if I can, and I've done sort of a similar sort of thing years and years ago, based on sales, and it's one of those things that we're all essentially businesses and we all sell stuff, and knowing what person's sitting opposite you means you can sort of match, as you're saying, you can match their sort of tempo and you know how to sell to them. So it's one of those things that if you know what sort of person you're sitting across, you can explain things that they just pick up and go, oh, that's great, like the detail, or the person that needs the figures to go away and have a look at. Yeah. So it has some benefits from a sales point of view that I've done before, so it's good.
Definitely.
Wayne, would it be fair to say that you could actually be a little bit of each one of those quadrants?
You tend to have aspects of 2, possibly 3, and it ends up generating a graph, and so it's got 4 lines. So you'll have if there's a midpoint, you might be low on 1, and then high in 2, and then medium on the third one, for example, or just really high in 2. To have the same level of all of them, that would be a profile. Yeah,
Sure, that would be just Zen. Like Zen.
I haven't unpacked any Zens like Good. Excellent.
Wait, how long have you been doing the EDISC for? Is it something is it new, or is it something you've been doing is it recent? Because I'm not talking about it recently, so I'm just wondering.
From about mid-year onwards, so from early the beginning of the year it was the straight coaching, and then from mid-year doing the EDISC. And I think in regards to you've got doing the coaching as is, and then doing EDISC. EDISC is just open up. Where before it might be like sort of you go first session, second session, okay, start to see some stuff come up. This just goes straight and pops up all these different rabbit holes that you can just go down and explore, because the data's just there, and I can say, well, it's showing up. This is showing up what's going on for you right now. Is like, there's frustration going on. What does that mean for you in your current job, and your role, and your relationships, or whatever? And they're like, well, actually, it's this.
It's more effective.
Yeah, it's behavioural. It's behavioural as well. So it shows up all the emotions going on as well. So whether someone might be hiding in a job role, or there's frustration going on, or there's high levels of stress, it shows up all that as well. This doesn't go into that.
Any more questions? No? Okay. Thanks, Wayne.